Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for CLIA's very first cruise line webinar of 2021 with American Cruise Lines. I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday seasons, and all of us at CLIA wish you all a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CLIA, and I'm going to just go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. This webinar will run about 30 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Caitlin O'D. Caitlin is a Business Development Coordinator with American Cruise Lines, where she assists agents in learning more about American's products and helps agents build their business with ACL. She has been with the company for 4 years and started on the sales team as a cruise specialist. She is located at the corporate headquarters in Connecticut, where she lives with her husband and her cat. And with that, take it away, Caitlin.
Hi there, Anna, and thank you again, everybody, for joining me today. I know everybody's really excited to get the year started, so I'm really privileged to start it with you today. And we have been hearing a lot from you about your clients more interested in cruising with us close to home. So that's what I wanted to focus on today. We actually have a couple of brand new itineraries I'm excited to introduce you to, and a gorgeous new ship that's soon to come. She launched last year, so we're excited to introduce the American Melody as well. So let me get started. So we have over 35 itineraries across the United States with over, I believe, many of the US states. And we have something for everybody. If somebody wants to cruise during the summertime, during the fall, we usually are cruising. The only times we typically are not, of course, this unusual circumstance notwithstanding is early in the year, but for the rest of the year, there's something for everybody on the East Coast all the way up to Alaska. So like I said, today I'm going to focus on some of our newer itineraries, starting with the Cape Codder. And as a native New Englander, this is one I'm very excited about here in Connecticut. Very excited about the Cape Codder. This one is a 7-night, 8-day round trip out of Boston, and it takes place in the early months of summertime, May to June, which are really ideal for this time frame. In New England, at this point, May and June are full summer. It's very warm, very comfortable, and of course you're missing that holiday traffic, as Cape Cod is an ideal destination for summer vacationers. So we start our cruises early in the morning, where our point of embarkation, typically we're getting on the ship between 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For that reason, we do have a Four Seasons premium package available, and we do recommend that to our guests because it makes it a little bit easier. You're not racing to the dock the morning of the cruise. It's a much easier morning of embarkation if you're in the evening before. And of course, the Four Seasons is an acclaimed hotel. That Four Seasons package includes 1 night at the Four Seasons, a full breakfast at the Bristol City Restaurant, and a narrated city tour, which includes stops such as North Church, Faneuil Hall, and of course that would end at the ship the morning of the cruise. So really a spectacular opportunity to take advantage of. And like I said, can't recommend that enough. Also included with that pre-cruise package is the concierge service for your luggage. So clients will get to the hotel and basically not have to pick up their luggage at all for the rest of the trip. It's really nice, especially for our clientele, semi-retired to retired cruise clientele. Appreciate that opportunity to not have to schlep their baggage around. And that narrated city tour also, I do like to note, is not available if you do not take that tour package. So it's something to note if they really are interested in getting to know Boston. I recommend having a dinner in the North End, which is right near the Four Seasons. It's the best way to enjoy the best of New England. Okay, Provincetown's at the northern tip of Cape Cod in Mass. It's a seaside town on the site of Mayflower's Landing in 1620, and it's commemorated by the towering Pilgrim Monument over P-Town within neighboring Provincetown Museum. And it's known as a longtime haven for artists in the LGBTQ community. It's really lively. Numerous art galleries, plus restaurants, cabarets, and specialty shops are clustered on and around Commercial Street, which is where your clients will spend the majority of the time. In the port of call, your clients can take the narrated trolley tour to enjoy the scenic beauty of P-Town and visit the Provincetown Center, where guests can see whales breaching in Cape Cod Cape Cod Bay from the observation deck. The tour is going to conclude at the Provincetown Library, where guests can admire its unique interior. They also have the option to take the Provincetown Dunes exploration, where they'll be led by a naturalist to explore the Provincetown Dunes, part of the Cape Cod National Seashore. This park protects the unique but fragile ecosystem of the dunes to ensure the preservation of its beauty and natural habitat. The excursion is ideal for amateur photographers, as it will include a photo stop where your clients can capture the images of dunes rising and falling like waves toward the ocean, a truly remarkable scene to behold. So you're going to see a lot of dunes on this itinerary. It's not like the main coast; it's a very gentle, serene coastal area. And one of the 2 new ports of call to American Cruise Lines will be Woods Hole Oceanographic institution. Guests will meet working scientists and engineers during a behind-the-scenes look at the research, technology, and marine operations facilities here at the institution. This includes a sneak peek at the vehicles and robots that are driving ocean exploration today. They'll also visit the Woods Hole Science Aquarium and enjoy a special presentation by leading oceanographic experts in the Redfield Auditorium there on the campus. So up next is Plymouth, Mass, which is a staple here to visit in New England. It's a coastal town, again, founded in 1620. A guest can discover the Plymouth excursion here, where they'll get the opportunity to witness what life was like for those settlers at the Plymouth plantation, a living history museum with actors who stay in character as though it was that fabled time in the mid-1600s. They'll also visit the Plymouth Rock Memorial, as well as a full-scale replica of the Mayflower seen here. This is the Mayflower 2 here. The tour will also give your clients an opportunity to spend some time strolling and shopping along the local streets in this charming town. And up next is a favorite port of call on this itinerary, Martha's Vineyard. We have been visiting many times prior to this, but it is included as it is kind of part of the Cape Cod and Islands area. And it's locally known as the Vineyard because of the wild grapevines that once grew there. We will dock at beautiful seaside village, and your clients will have the opportunity to see beautiful seagrass dotted dunes as we come into port. Our premium excursion at this port of call is the Views of the Vineyard tour. A local guide will bring passengers on a bus narrating the local history through many local towns, including Oak Bluff, for a view of delightfully colored gingerbread cottages. And then we'll visit Bill Ewan's gingerbread home for freshly made lemonade and cookies at the conclusion of the tour to give them a nice immersive experience there in the gingerbread house. Okay, up next, I'm going to cover the Music Cities tour. It's another brand new itinerary. This one begins and ends in the musical meccas of the US. It's a one-way from Memphis, Tennessee, the home of the king, to Nashville, Tennessee, the official headquarters of country music. And the cruise will bring your clients through cities and small towns that define the heartland. So passengers embarking in Memphis have the opportunity to purchase the Graceland signature pre-cruise package, which will immerse them in the life of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. It includes 2 nights at the Guest House Hotel, which is right across the street from Graceland, a full breakfast both mornings, a complimentary shuttle that will take them to popular downtown destinations throughout their stay, such as iconic Beale Street, as well as a welcoming reception in the Jungle Room at the Graceland Exhibition Center, which is really unique. And that one occurs on the evening of arrival, and that includes exclusive after-hours access to the Exhibition Center, cocktails and hors d'oeuvres, a special presentation by the Graceland Archives Department where they'll get to view items belonging to Elvis not regularly shown to the public. A VIP entourage tour of Graceland and lunch voucher will be available during the day following arrival. And that's like an 8-hour day. So I'm going to go over what kind of occurs during that day when I go over what happens at Memphis. The following morning, of course, transportation to the ship is included with a Memphis City Experience tour on the way. That Memphis City Experience also available on the regular day in Memphis, so I'll go over that, like I mentioned, when I go over Memphis. And just briefly, I wanted to give you a quick note. I am going over just some highlights of these itineraries. So these are 7-night cruises, both, a lot more to see. And if you need any more details on it, the information about them are on the website there. So all of our river cruises include a pre-cruise package for passengers who might have already seen Graceland and don't need to purchase that pre-cruise package. We've selected a premium hotel located right at the heart of the city of embarkation, and we will arrange your client's stay and transfer to the ship the morning of the cruise. Guests cruising out of Nashville will receive a complimentary ticket for the Grand Ole Opry evening show, where they can enjoy country music at its best, featuring up-and-coming country artists, as well as musical groups that have been with the Opry for many years. So for those country fans, might make them make more sense for them to start in Nashville to have that great opportunity there. While in Nashville, passengers cruising from Memphis to Nashville can enjoy that evening show as one of the featured excursions in Nashville. They can also take part in the Nashville Experience Tour, wherein a local guide will bring them to such highlights as the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum, Honky Tonk Row, and a complete full-size replica of the Parthenon. A little known fact, Nashville was actually once known as the Athens of the South. Okay. Up next will be in Paducah, which is located at the intersection of the Ohio River and the Tennessee Waterway and was founded by William Clark. It was named a UNESCO Creative City of Crafts and Folk Art in 2013, and it's known as a National Heritage Destination with talented culinary artists, painters, potters, and jewelers, and is known as Quilt City, USA. The Paducah City and National Quilt Museum tour is the ideal way to experience the best of Paducah. We'll begin by touring the town's historic district to learn a bit about the history of the city, largely defined by its location on the rivers. They'll visit the riverfront to see life-sized panoramic murals depicting the city's history, and end the tour at the National Quilt Museum, the world's largest museum devoted to quilt and fiber art. The museum serves as a portal to the contemporary quilt experience through exhibits and workshops by renowned quilters who are implementing creative ideas and approaches to fiber art. And not only is this a particular branch of folk art that's a huge draw for our demographic of retired and well-traveled, well-educated individuals, this is especially interesting for the ladies on board. For our clientele, this is a favorite stop. And these quilts will amaze even the most ambivalent visitors to the museum. So those husbands won't be bored. There are depictions of famous moments in history, like the moon landing, portraiture, and mural-sized quilts that really are incredible feats of artistry that must be seen. Okay, finally, after a day of river cruising, you're going to end up in Memphis if you're cruising from Nashville to Memphis. And passengers on this itinerary can visit Graceland for the full day VIP entourage tour. Well, they'll get to view the mansion, car museum, custom airplanes, entertainment complex, showcase, and gravesite, just to name a few things. So that's what I meant by it's a long day. Of course, that $15 voucher will also be provided for the tour, so they can use that at many of the different food venues on the complex. And passengers who prefer a broader overview of the city's storied musical history can visit the Rock and Soul Museum and Memphis Music Hall of Fame. The Memphis Music Hall of Fame is the first museum to have been developed along with the Smithsonian Museum. The exhibition tells the story of musical pioneers who overcame racial and socioeconomic barriers to create music that would influence American culture and the world. Guests will learn about the rural field haulers and sharecroppers in the 1930s, the explosion of Sun, Stax, and High records, Memphis's musical heyday in the 70s, as well as its global influence. Finally, the National Civil Rights Museum tour will give passengers an opportunity to share in the history of the American Civil Rights Movement. Established in 1991, it's located at the former Lorraine Motel where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. Guests can explore interactive exhibits and historic collections to learn how this significant era continues to shape equality and freedom today. Okay, so this is the part of the webinar that I'm the most excited about. We have another brand new modern riverboat. I'm going to go over all of our ship classes, but before we start, I do just want to kind of let you know that we do have some brand new images that we're viewing of the American Melody. So let me kind of introduce you to the new modern riverboats, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about what those gorgeous ships will entail. So we do have three modern riverboats, excuse me, we have four modern riverboats, I apologize, with American Cruise Lines. The Song, American Song, and the American Harmony are both cruising the American Pacific Northwest, and the American Jazz and the American Melody, soon to come, will cruise on the Mississippi River. These are the first modern riverboats ever in the US, and they've introduced many pioneering innovations to America's waters. With a capacity of just 190 guests, they have modern amenities and contemporary styling that today's traveler has come to expect. Featured are expansive lounges with large glass windows offering astounding views. The ships will also feature a glass enclosed atrium with a large dome skylight, which serves as the central gathering point for the entire ship. All modern riverboats will also offer the back porch cafe for casual dining, an option that's been very popular with our guests. So basically, if folks have missed the standard dining time, they can grab a snack. It's kind of a snack bar, so they'll have really nice flatbread pizzas and kind of sandwiches and stuff like that if they prefer a more casual dining option. So here is a look at one of the staterooms on board the Melody. And of course, as you can tell, this is a rendering, but this is what we're kind of steering towards. It is a little bit of a shift as far as our decor is concerned. It is a little bit more contemporary. Of course, we're still keeping that nautical theme. You see those beautiful blues. And as is the case with all modern riverboats, they all have private balconies. We don't have any interior rooms at American Cruise Lines. We also have single occupancy staterooms and accessible staterooms as well. Although given the size of our staterooms, averaging 300 square feet with the largest in our fleet at 800 square feet, just speak to the person you're booking with because you don't know what might accommodate your clients best. These rooms are very spacious and we can actually add some accommodations to the staterooms, again, really focusing our experience to that more mature cruise clientele. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm so excited about these beautiful staterooms as well and excited to give you a look at one of our lounge spaces here. So these lounge spaces are typically where sometimes our onboard entertainment or our guest lecturers will kind of give their spiel about the region. So I just wanted to give you a quick peek at that. And an outdoor lounge space picture, also beautiful. So those of you familiar to us will kind of see the difference. And you'll see some other staterooms or, a lounge on board one of our coastal ships. So it is a little bit of a shift. It's more contemporary, which is what we're steering towards with these new modern riverboats. Most people do know us for these gorgeous, authentic paddle wheelers, though, of course. And this is an instance where you can really see how we design these ships with the region they cruise in mind. They all have a functioning bright red paddle wheeler, and they give your clients an opportunity to step back in time to the golden age of American river commerce, immortalized by Mark Twain, while still enjoying the modern comforts and amenities aboard one of our four paddle wheelers. So these ships are a great choice for passengers interested in history or Americana. We actually do have a Mark Twain themed cruise, for passengers who are really interested in reliving the author's early years on the river. The America was built in 2016 and the Queen of the Mississippi, built in 2015, are our paddle wheelers cruising on the Mississippi. The American Pride was built in 2012 and cruises the Columbia along with the Queen of the West, which is the only ship not built by us. Every other ship is built in Salisbury, Maryland at our shipyard. So that's a really important distinction. Also important to our cruise clientele who are looking to contribute to the local US economy. But the Queen of the West was purchased in 2011 and we underwent a multi-million-dollar renovation to increase stateroom size and bring the ship up to date. But she is priced at a lower price point as an option for passengers who might want to experience the American Cruise Lines product, but find the other prices too steep. And of course, it's cruising the Columbia and Snake River. It's definitely one of our most popular regions to cruise. So she's a great option to take a look at for that reason. The balcony staterooms on the paddle wheelers cruising the Mississippi will have floor-to-ceiling sliding glass doors. On the Mississippi, all of them will be floor-to-ceiling sliding glass doors. However, on the Columbia and Snake, the Pride has some balcony staterooms with a door with a window looking out, as well as a picture window next to the door. Just a brief mention, all of the staterooms on board the new modern riverboats have the sliding glass door floor-to-ceiling. Okay. And finally, we do have our small ship coastal cruisers. So we have 5 small ship coastal cruisers, 2 on the west coast and 3 on the east, and they're best described as large yachts. They come in 2 different classes. The Independence class are 100 passenger ships built between 2005 and 2010. They are the Independence, the American Spirit, and the American Star. And the Constellation class are 175 passenger ships built in 2017 and 2018. They are the American Constellation and the American Constitution. The Constellation joined the Pacific Northwest, or excuse me, the Spirit out in the Pacific Northwest doing the Puget Sound and Alaska cruises. And the Constitution, Star, and Independence are doing the East Coast itineraries. So that Cape Codder would take place on the Constitution, I believe, and the Music City cruise depends on the time frame because we do have quite a few ships cruising on the Mississippi at this point. So I was excited to be able to show you those brand new pictures. So right now I'm just going to do a quick review of the amenities we provide with American Cruise Lines. So on board, you can expect to find our signature complimentary cocktail party every evening. That opens up the bar for the rest of the day too. So once folks get on board, this starts at 5 p.m. And then if anybody wants beer, wine, champagne, premium liquors, top shelf cocktails, those are available for us and at, towards the evening. We also serve locally sourced and inspired hors d'oeuvres, and it's completely complimentary. It's really a great opportunity for passengers to mingle or catch up before dinner with their loved ones, and our single passengers really like that opportunity. We do have a lot of single staterooms aboard all of our ships, so some folks traveling alone have the opportunity to meet like-minded travelers. So we're unique in that our ships are small enough that we have an open seated dining room where guests can dine at their leisure. We basically open up that dining time at 5 p.m. with the cocktail hour so folks can come in at their leisure. That dining time is from 5 p.m. to 7:30, and they can sit with whom they want when they want. So there's no assigned seats. All of our meals are locally sourced and inspired. We never have buffets. All of our meals are made to order, so you can specifically accommodate any dietary restrictions. It's really common that we get specific requests, and we'll go above and beyond to make sure your clients enjoy their culinary experience, no matter what they need. If they just don't like onions, it's fine. We can leave them out. If they're very allergic to, say, seafood or shellfish, it's very easy for us to make those kinds of accommodations, again, because we are making these meals fresh. So that's important to remember. Just let us know when you're booking your client, because we'll actually put that information in their folio and it will go with them from cruise to cruise. So you don't have to keep reminding us about those accommodations to be made. However, if you do have a very nervous guest and perhaps they do have a really serious allergy, they can actually speak with our chef to talk them through what their needs are, just to assuage any fears they have. And beer and wine, of course, is complimentary at lunch and dinner. Dinner, of course, you can grab one at cocktails as well. And meals are served in the dining room. You're sitting where you want, when you want. We also offer tea, snacks, coffee, and non-alcoholic beverages in our lounges 24 hours a day. Okay. So we also bring acclaimed local entertainment on board each night, which really brings the destination to life. And the entertainment varies by cruise and date, but your clients can expect a variety of performers. All of our nightly entertainment is hosted in one of those gorgeous lounges. So they're often small, intimate performances, kind of like a little cafe. And they're in the celebrated styles of America's legendary waterways, from country and blues to jazz and rock and roll. So especially in that Music City's cruise is actually a themed cruise. So on board, the music is going to be spectacular. The area, even if you're doing, say, the Cumberland River cruise from previous, the opportunity to cruise in that area where all of that beautiful music was born is really spectacular. I can't recommend it enough. We also have an award-winning onboard enrichment program. Topics can range from history and ecology to culture and cuisine, and this person could be an expert in local history, a naturalist, or many other types of lecturers and guides. And this is the aspect of the cruise that I feel like is somewhat underplayed until it's experienced. It's hard to describe it until you're there with the guest lecturer who's going with you on the excursions and answering any questions you have. You know what I mean? It's really a great way to tie everything about the experience in the region together. And we do have some repeat cruisers who follow certain experts around. An example, of course, is Tad Wedber, which I'm sure you're whom I'm sure you're familiar with. Folks really do love him. But like I said, our guest lecturers will go with the folks on the excursions to give them some more details about the region. They're really there to tie the whole experience together. So it's really a spectacular opportunity. Finally, I just wanted to go over our excursions, my apologies. So we do have small group guided excursions. The featured tours are complimentary to all guests, and those are typically for our river cruises. That would be the Mississippi River and the Columbia and Snake River, as well as our Alaska cruises. There is usually a featured excursion in every port of call. For our coastal cruises, say the New England cruise or the Puget Sound, or all of the East Coast, those typically do not include a featured excursion at each port of call. The reason being, if say you're visiting Provincetown and you don't want to go on the trolley tour, you just want to walk up and down, there's a great Portuguese bakery there, you can get some fried dough. That's what you want to do. That's what a lot of our clients are doing. They're choosing to kind of explore these really cute, quaint ports of call as opposed to taking a guided tour. The reason you visit New England typically is to go and kind of immerse yourself in that these really nice ports of call. So that's why the featured excursions are not as included as much. We did find that folks were not taking them as much. But of course, if we're docking at Oak Alley, we will be including the excursion to say Oak Alley. It's a good example. Premium tours typically cost anywhere from $20 to $70 and can be paid for on board. So those are the ones that are going to be on most of the coastal East Coast and Puget Sound cruises. And signature tours are limited availability, and we really recommend that you get them on your booking before final payment. You don't have to pay for it until final payment, but it does take it out of inventory. See, if you have somebody who's cruising from Nashville to Memphis and is not quite sure they want to take the VIP Graceland tour, get it on their booking anyway. That way they'll have the idea that, they'll know they'll be able to take it by the time they get ready to pay final payment. So it's just a good idea, I think, to make sure that everybody's taken care of. And that's going to be it for today. So I'd love to take any questions anybody has.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we do have some questions coming in. Our first one is from Dana, who is wondering, how accessible are your ships and excursions to power wheelchair guests?
It depends on the size. So this is the moment where I really feel we need a lot of information about the width of the power wheelchair, especially because we're also talking about how many ships here. So say something like the American Star, one of the 100 passenger ships, might not be able to accommodate them, but say the American Song that you're looking at here. Actually, if you don't mind bearing with me, I'm gonna do a thing here. So the new modern riverboats have this articulated bow that pops up and that ramp comes out. That's wider than anything else that we have in our fleet. So that's sort of where I'm saying, if you have somebody who wants to cruise with us, we are building these ships to these specifications where we know a lot of folks will need some additional assistance coming on board. So as we kind of keep building these ships, these are the kinds of things that we are aware of. When you're speaking to a cruise specialist, they'll know which itineraries to direct you to. And we do need the information as to how wide the motorized ship or the motorized wheelchair is, but we can accommodate them and have very easily.
Okay, great. And we do have some questions coming in about safety protocols and restrictions and anything related to COVID, when you'll start sailing. So if you can cover any of that, if you have insight into any of that information, that would be great.
I sure do. So ladies and gentlemen, we don't know what it's going to look like when we start sailing. We canceled our March 6th sailing. Obviously we're hoping that everybody can get vaccinated as soon as possible. Our clientele is going to be shown preferential treatment because they're older. It is already, established that they're going to be getting these vaccines, so they're going to be ready to travel. So we don't know how we're going to need to accommodate them. That being said, as we were establishing our protocol, thinking we were going to cruise last year, we've been working with the CDC every step of the way. The moment we do establish protocol, it will be listed on the website. Same thing with the sailings. If there is a sailing canceled, it will be listed on the website. So just keep an eye on that. I'm so sorry, I can't tell you anything more specifically. When we had very specific protocol before, but I'm confident it's not going to be the same now. So I don't feel comfortable kind of going into any further detail until we know we don't typically start sailing until March. So we got to see what it looks like in March. It might be completely different, how this goes. So we're at a wait and see period.
Yep, and that makes perfect sense. You did mention that your cruisers tend to be a little bit older, and we do have some questions about the median age of your cruisers. Are there children allowed? Can you speak to that?
So there's no minimum age allowed. You can bring a baby on if you want, be a pregnant lady on if you want. It's whatever. We actually have seen an uptick of multi-generational groups cruising, but I would say our median age is 50. It is folks who are semi-retired. They've cruised all over the place. Before COVID, we were seeing people who have already traveled everywhere, and that's why they were looking to cruise close to home. They don't want to have to deal with international travel, but at this point, they are focusing on cruising here because it's so much scarier to leave the country. We don't know where other, kind of municipalities outside of the country are with their treatment. So this is the best way to go. So that's sort of where we're seeing our clientele get a lot more enthusiastic about cruising with us. So, but yeah, typically looking at about 50 to 60 age range. There aren't any programs on board for kids, but like I said, it's if you compare it to a much more upscale, much more comfortable, say like American road trip, this is where we're taking all of the terrible, awful things about it out of your hands, but you're still visiting historical locations. You're still learning about your home country, which is really important to the elderly clientele. And they enjoy experiencing that with their grandkids. They enjoy sharing that with their grandkids. So we do see a lot of that actually.
Okay, perfect. And our next question is from Dana, who is wondering if you have an agent specialist program.
So we do have a travel advisor program. I'm actually the one who kind of manages it. So you just head on to the travel advisor portal. You can register. If you've already booked with American Cruise Lines, or already registered, and you just need to establish a username and password. But once you get in, we really want you to take those certification courses. You'll get a nice certificate and a logo that you can put in your email signature to say that you're a certified agent, travel advisor with American Cruise Lines. And of course, you can book online with that portal. And we do update those modules quite a bit. So it's a good idea to get on there just to kind of get the basic knowledge down, because I only did a couple of the itineraries. You get a full breakdown of everything that we have to offer on the travel advisor portal. So I do highly recommend getting certified as an agent with us.
Okay, perfect. And what is the website that agents should use?
So it's at americancruiselines.com, but there is a link at the top right. So just go to americancruiselines.com and head right there. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Easy enough. Our next question is from Constance, who is wondering if there is somewhere online that agents can find photos of, she specifically needs a photo of the dining room on the American Pride, but is there anywhere for agents to find collateral for American Cruise Lines?
I'm going to ask you to email me at agents@americancruiselines.com, because it's a little bit difficult for us to get specific dining room. We're doing a revamp of all of our information on the portal, so I'm pretty confident there isn't a picture of the dining room of the Pride, but I'm pretty sure I can track one down for you. So agents@americancruiselines.com is the best place to reach me.
Okay, perfect. I will let them know. And our next question is from Rhonda, who is wondering if you have any ships leaving from New York City.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Do we have any ships? Yeah, we do have the Hudson River round trip, and that takes place in the fall time. It's a fall foliage cruise. So that is it, though. We're a small cruise line, so we're operating out of each port kind of locally. So say for instance, the Cape Codder, of course, leaves from Boston. If you're leaving for the Puget Sound, it leaves out of Seattle. So it's we're only ever leaving out of the region where we're cruising. Okay.
Okay, perfect. And we have just a few questions left. This one is from Susie, who is wondering how far in advance you are open.
So I would say typically in a normal year, it's about a year, but because we had vouchers put on new dates, I would say we're looking at about a year and a half right now. We're getting very full. People are very enthusiastic about about cruising with us in the United States. So I would say you want to plan far, far ahead. And one of my biggest recommendations too, if you have a single passenger, it's 2 years at this point. Some of the small ships only have about 4 single staterooms on them. So if you have a single passenger, you really got to plan as far ahead as possible.
Okay, perfect. And that is good to hear. Our next question is from Joanne, who is wondering, she is Canadian. Where can she book for Canadian clients?
So we don't take Canadian dollars, but you can still book. You can call our cruise specialist or book online the same way everyone else will. The same
Okay,
process.
perfect. And that makes sense. And we will end on this question from Teresa, who is wondering if you can just quickly speak to group travel.
Oh, sure. I'd be delighted to. That person who just messaged me is the head of our groups department, actually, and she's fantastic. She is so good. I can't tell you enough. So our groups department, it's a $600 off standard discount for the group pricing. What you would do, you give Sarah a ring and say, here's where I'm looking to cruise, or even I have a group of people I'm looking to cruise, tech form a group, can you advise? She is fantastic at narrowing down the best itinerary, finding the best time frame for your clients to go. And then she put a quote together for you. The quote lasts for 2 months. And then once you're ready, you'll sign the quote. And then in order to book a group, you have to make a deposit. That's another thing I just want to mention too. That's the case for all of our cruises. We have such small ships, we can't hold something just on perspective. We can't do that. We need you to put a deposit down. So in order to lock in a group, you put a deposit on at least that one stateroom, and then the group pricing is locked in, which is great because we typically see about 2 or 3 price increases a year. So once you're locked in, Sarah then just will start to blow your mind with all the stuff she'll do for you and your group, anywhere from private cocktail parties. If your clientele doesn't want to do the assigned group, excursions, and you have something else in mind, she can assist you with that. Any guest lecturer that your guests would like to bring on board, in addition to the one that we have, we can do that. It's kind of hard to describe all of the things we can do because we've done so many things. She just is very good at kind of creating a concierge experience for the groups department. I cannot speak highly enough about Sarah Smith. She's great, the head of our groups department. So please reach out to her. She's very busy, but she wants to hear from you. Okay.
Okay, perfect. And that is all of our questions. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And thank you, Caitlin, for all of that wonderful information.
Thank you, Anna. And thank you all as well. I appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.